We're in Cannes, in the south of France, for the Festival of Creativity. Casino?
I thought you said you were going to do the three.
No.
Okay.
No.
Sorry.
He said that.
Did I? Okay.
That's fine.
I love we bring our shambolic style all the way from London to Cannes. Right, again. Coming up, we're in Cannes in the south of France for the Festival of Creativity.
We provide a summary of our talent survey results.
And we report on a massive UK media pitch. Hello and welcome to IDCOM's Media Snack, episode 31. So as you can probably tell, we are not with our usual bookcase in the background. We're in Cannes in the south of France. It's the Festival of Creativity, which brings together thousands of people from the advertising and media business from around the world. We'll be reporting on that and lots of our conversations, particularly around media, with a lot of senior agency executives and senior marketers and other commentators from the festival.
We're going to provide a preview of our talent survey that we've got the results of.
Yeah, and talent's been a theme through a lot of the conversations that we've been having. And finally, we'll report on the launch of one of the biggest UK media pitches that we've seen for a long time. £160 million up for grabs. It's BT and EE consolidated media planning and buying pitch.
That's right.
All coming up on today's Media Snack in just the time it takes to eat a sandwich. So first up today, let's talk about Cannes. We are here on the south of France. We're sat at the moment in the Cabana of the International Advertising Association, and we're attending a panel tomorrow to talk about talent in the industry, which I think is really important. Now the great thing about Cannes is it brings together thousands of people from around the world, from not just media but creative and design and PR and many different disciplines, to recognise and celebrate good work. It's the most kind of preeminent award that everybody's looking for. But beyond that, I mean, and that's all happening in the what they call the Palais, which is the big festival event space up here, which is the awards. But that's really only one component, right, of Cannes. It's all the conversations and the meetings and the opportunities that happen around that to talk about some of the bigger issues. And so we've had a number of discussions this week and many more to come to talk about some of the key media issues that are challenging the industry.
And we've been here a few days now, and we've spent a lot of time talking to marketeers.
Nice tan, by the way.
Thank you very much. It's red. Marketeers, agency leaders, and the thing that has struck me most is just the sense of optimism. Given perhaps the cloud, the news that has happened over the last couple of weeks, we felt that perhaps there would be a sense of concern within the industry. But it's the sense of optimism, it's the sense of belief. It couldn't have perhaps happened, the festival couldn't have happened at a better time. I think probably the industry needed a little bit of sun, a change of environment, just to alter the conversation and the context by which they begin to work. So I think that's the thing that I've taken from the last couple of days. It's just the sense of optimism.
And Cannes really good for that, wasn't it? Because everyone kind of leaves their baggage behind. The sunroof comes down, the opportunity to have meaningful conversation that perhaps you wouldn't have face to face with people when you're office bound. And it allows people to have different types of conversations around some of these issues. And as you said, the timing is just perfect. Given the dark clouds that perhaps were gathering in the last few weeks, and the overhang that we talked about on last week's episode, that can be pulled back certainly for the period of this week to have better quality conversations.
But the issues haven't been avoided. I think that they've been confronted. We were watching a panel discussion with some very senior CMOs this morning, and the question of the ANA report was was addressed directly.
Yep.
And all three CMOs answered it honestly. It was in a very positive manner. It was clinical in the way that they described it. But there was just a sense of kind of moving forward, of productiveness, I think, in the way that they talked about it. So it hasn't been ignored, but I think it's been addressed in the right kind of way.
Yeah, I agree. And what else have you picked up from kind of conversations that we've had? As I mentioned kind of right up front, talent, we're coming here really thinking about transparency obviously is kind of in the mind, but talent really is another big challenge that we've referenced before that's facing the industry, particularly when we look at media. So I mean, in those conversations, how important is this being kind of raised as an issue?
Absolutely critical. But it's not just talent on the agency side and the expectations of marketeers for talents and capabilities to be increased and improved on the agency side. It's also an understanding that marketing departments need to increase and improve their capabilities and talent moving forward in order to exploit the opportunities that they have over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah, and there seems to be a commitment from the brands that we've spoken to when we've talked about, and these two things become interrelated, don't they? Right. The idea of transparency, as we've been talking about it, is in relation to lack of governance often on the client side and the lack of specialist media skills and capabilities internally within brands. And that's obviously that's a talent issue, not just the right people, but they've got the right capabilities and the skills to manage media, to manage their agencies better. And so that's been a factor in a few of the brands that we spoke to today and yesterday, of them taking some control, not all control of media, but taking some control. And that requires them to be very specific about the way they're going to structure their business, the kind of people that they want entirely, and that everybody, I think without exception, is saying, for the next 2-3 years, future-proof, get ready, and all these kind of good language.
But they, both agency and advertiser, I think, understand that they have to work together to address the talent requirements and capabilities moving forward. So I think there is a sense of collaboration in that as well.
Yeah. And Cannes is just the perfect place to be able to do that.
That's right.
While the sun's shining. Okay, so that's interesting from a marketer's perspective. Anything else that you kind of get excited about? Any other conversations?
Yeah, I'm particularly looking forward to meeting and speaking to Brian Weezer. He's a head media analyst at Pivotal, and a very well-known and well-regarded spokesman when it comes to media to the investment community.
He's regarded as the voice of Wall Street when it comes to the media sector.
So we've got a chat with him, and I'm looking forward to hearing what he's got to say in terms of what's influencing share price within the media industry.
Yeah.
So second up, we're going to preview the findings from our talent survey. We interviewed 130 marketeers, procurement specialists and agency people, and we've just kind of found the results of that. Anything particularly interesting that we found? Yeah,
there is, and just to remind you, this is the second in a series of 7 research projects that we're conducting to look at the main drivers of media performance. We started 2 or 3 months ago looking at media transparency, and we produced a report on that, which has then obviously led a lot of discussions around transparency. It was referred to in the K2 report, as you know. And we're moving into the second phase of that. So we're looking at talent. So a few weeks ago we issued a survey to get input from marketing, media and procurement leaders with oversight of media. And we also sought input from agency leaders from around the world. It was about 2/3 Europe in terms of respondents and about 1/3 rest of the world, the majority of which is US. And we asked 5 very simple questions. The first question was an overwhelming response to the idea, the hypothesis, that talent in media and motivating and retaining and identifying the right talent gives competitive advantage to brands, which is perhaps self-explanatory, as you might expect. But it kind of validates the importance of talent and probably why it's dominating a lot of the conversations here.
We found that the majority of advertisers found that their current internal capabilities and resource was capable of managing their current needs, which is a good thing. Although the agency community disagreed completely with that.
Yeah, they did.
Right, so 70% of the agency respondents believed that on the advertiser side, their current capabilities weren't able to deliver against their requirements.
Yeah, So you've got a slight disconnect there. Clients believing that they're actually investing in the right talent, as we already just talked about. They're taking a bit of control, a bit more interest in governing media with better capabilities and talent internally. But I think there might be a lag in perception maybe that you've got there, because brands are taking action and staffing up for media, but the agencies on the front line perhaps are still seeing and being able to identify the gaps in capability. There's a long way to go. We'd hope that when we return to this survey, we'll do it every 2 years, that we'll find a kind of rebalance. You'd hope that there'd be more confidence from the agency side that advertisers do have better capabilities to manage media at that point.
But where both advertiser and agency community agreed was that both communities were going to have to invest heavily in talent to deliver against their requirements in the next 2-3 years.
Yeah, right. And we asked all respondents to identify what they thought the key or the biggest challenge was within media talent, and the top answer for both the advertiser and the agency was actually the quality of media talent in the agency. So again, that suggests perhaps changing marketer needs, changing scope of a media agency, that there may be some gaps in media agencies that they need to fulfill, because they were both aligned on that being the biggest issue.
And these are key issues that the communities need to address now. In order for that to be resolved in the next couple of years.
And then finally, the fifth question, where we looked at, we asked both sets of respondents, both the advertiser and the agency, against a whole bunch of, I'm blowing away here, against a whole bunch of different disciplines, so e-commerce, planning, social, mobile, where they thought additional capabilities needed to be built, whether on the advertiser side, whether on the agency side, or whether these would be shared discipline. And there's some quite significant disparity between where the advertiser feels that they need to build capability and perhaps take a bit of more control. And those were those kind of areas like e-commerce and social and data particularly, as you might expect. Advertisers saying they need to build capabilities there. Whereas if you ask the agency side, they tended to suggest that those capabilities needed to be shared. Again, I think that just highlights the momentum within advertiser organisations to build capabilities where they don't have them in order to collaborate better with their agencies. I think the spirit in agencies, which is these should be shared disciplines, is probably right. It's highlighting the advertisers saying that in the future they need to probably plug some of these gaps.
And reassuringly, I think from the agency side, almost all of the respondents from the advertiser side said that they were going to still require media planning expertise on the agency side moving forward.
And they had no plans to build that capability in-house, which is good to hear. So I'm joined here with Toby Jenna, Chief Operating Officer of Mediacom globally.
Hi, Tom.
Hello. How's your can so far?
5 hours old. So come back in 5 days.
Okay,
I'll be looking a lot more haggard.
You look pretty fresh.
I look okay now.
Good. So we're talking about talent. One of the big things that we're talking about on Media Snack today is media agency talent, specifically on the back of the research that we've done. So first question for you. From your perspective, you have a global perspective of a very large media operation. How important is talent in your kind of day-to-day?
The primary role of any leader in any business that we have around the world should be getting the very best talent we can. At Mediacom, we've got a simple belief, which is people first, better results. We've had that for probably 16 years now, and that doesn't change. The best people will deliver the best performance for our clients. Simple.
And is there really a talent issue in media? Because people talk about that a lot. There's lots of talent is leaving the media agency industry and going to work at technology companies and things like that. Is that something that you're experiencing?
Well, I wouldn't say that's leaving the industry. I think that's part and parcel of the industry. I think it varies by market. I think there's as the business expands, which it undoubtedly has over the last 4 or 5 years, I think there's huge numbers of opportunities for the most talented individuals out there, and some of that will be in tech businesses which work to extraordinarily high margins and they can enjoy competitive salaries. And then you come down to other individual markets where you might find a churn rates because it's hard to get the talent in or developed up. So there are differing circumstances as to why I don't think it's any less appealing, our industry. If anything, I think it's more appealing than ever before. You think about the situation of finance over the last 2 or 3 years and the hit that's taken. I think our industry is right at the forefront now.
Yeah,
just across multiple assets.
And it is because I've always found that kind of puzzling. It's one of the most exciting industries in the world, right? And yet we seem to be convinced that we're challenged in attracting the best caliber people into the industry. What's your approach to the pipeline of bringing really smart young people into a company like MediaCom?
Well, I think it's about developing very smart people. I think the thing I always look for is energy in an individual. I think you can teach, you can develop, you can nurture talent, but you need the right personality, the right energy within a person. And if you have that, I think anyone can go anywhere within our industry and be hugely successful.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're confident about media agency talent. When you think about on the advertiser side, the research that we did highlighted that there were some concerns amongst the agency community that perhaps advertisers didn't have good depth of media talent on the client side. What's your point of view on that? Is that something that you feel?
Yeah, well, I just go back. I think agencies as an industry, we can always be better, and as our business diversifies, I think we can always diversify quicker and bring in and nurture talent more quickly.
Yep.
But I think what we have is the ability to scale. And I think maybe that's where clients sometimes struggle. We've got in MediaCom 7,000 people, in Group M 28,000 people. So we've got the scalability of talent within our organisation. Small teams that can build out very quickly. I think maybe that's where clients sometimes struggle because ultimately it's not their first and foremost the business that they're in.
Yeah.
Which is why we're there to support and help.
Yeah. And presumably you welcome advertisers investing in better quality media talent on their side. Like if you have more marketers who can talk media, and then presumably that translates to working in more productive ways with agencies.
The more they understand the challenges, the opportunities, the better the relationship's going to be, and the better the outcomes for our clients are going to be. I think it's not binary. We don't have all the answers. Neither do clients. I think it's a combination of how we collaborate to ensure that we deliver the outcomes that are required to grow their business. Ultimately, that's what we're in. We were speaking earlier about media is probably the second or third biggest lever in growing a business for any client, and working together is the way that you ensure that will happen.
Good. Thank you for that.
Pleasure.
Enjoy. Have a good week.
Take care, Angie.
Okay, so last up today, in the UK, massive media pitch announced, in the trade press at least. BT, which is the UK's largest communications company, increasingly involved in content as well, TV content, have launched a £160 million, which is about $400 million media pitch, which is a consolidation, based on an acquisition that they made.
So BT acquired EE, which is a telecoms provider. Combined billings 160 million. BT current incumbent is Maxis. EE's current incumbent is MEC. So they are within the same holding group, Group M. 160 million must make BT the second largest advertiser in the UK.
I think so,
just behind Sky, which is looked after by MediaCom. So Group M have got a pretty impressive stranglehold on the telecoms market.
Also, and when you factor in that, I think MEC won the Vodafone business, which is another big mobile operator. I think they won that last year. So there's a lot of the UK's communications businesses all consolidated within Group M. So we understand that BT, or the combined BT-EE entity, £160 million consolidation pitch, is being offered to the large holding companies. I think it will be an interesting test because a decision from BT is do we want to be in the same holding company as all of these actual competitors? I mean, we'll see whether that's a factor in their decision making. I think that will be very interesting.
But it is going to be really hotly contended, I think, this one. So we'll keep you posted, and we'll wait and see how that one pans out.
Yeah. Okay, that's all from this week in very sunny Cannes. Bye for now.
Have a good weekend.